if you're dealing with a lot of humidity in your motorhome, RV, trailer, wherever you are, and you're looking for a dehumidifier that can help you out with that, you might be interested in this one. My name is Evangeline right here at etrailer. Today we're going to be talking about the Eva-Dry Rotary Dehumidifier. This is going to be a large capacity dehumidifier in the world of motorhomes and trailers, where this can bring in as much as 7 liters a day of moisture from the air. You have a bunch of different functions depending on what you may need, and this could be very helpful for your moisture control needs. Now we're going to talk about those different features, how you use this, and help you decide if this is the right fit for you and your adventures. First, why do you need a dehumidifier? Oftentimes in temperate climates, when your trailer has an air conditioning unit, that works as both a way to cool down your trailer and it dehumidifies the air while it does it. But sometimes, if let's say you have a lot of wet clothes inside your trailer, or you're traveling through where etrailer is right now, the Midwest, the humidity levels might be pretty high. And you'll notice that mold and mildew might be a thing. Things aren't drying out quick enough. Food inside your shelf and your cabinet might be spoiling a bit faster than you're used to. That's when you need to think about moisture control. Bringing your humidity back down to a good 30 to 60 relative humidity is helpful and possible when you have a dehumidifier like this. Sometimes just a certain spot of your camper needs to be a little bit drier than usual, and then you can just aim your dehumidifier at that problem spot and it can run and keep everything nice and dry. Using this is so straightforward. You just plug in a dehumidifier, turn it on, it automatically starts dehumidifying, but if you want to, you can customize your settings. Ionizer I usually leave on because this aids in air filtration. If you want though, you can always just turn that off if you're not as concerned. You also have your auto timers for how long you want this running, as well as your vent motion option to change how your vent works. Adjusting the vent motion, your drying mode, as well as your target relative humidity is helpful depending on what you're trying to moisture control. So oftentimes maybe you are camped out where there's a swimming pool or a lake. You might have your towels, your bathing suits. You can direct that vent towards that. You can also change the drying mode to high, and then this will really focus on bringing in that moisture, drying things out. The vent is where your air output is, and sometimes that's cool. More often than not, that's going to be warm air. And target relative humidity. An easy way to explain this is, if you're not sure what you need, go and select 50%. If you need more extreme dryness in the area, you can go down to 45%, which is actually going to be the low fan mode. This is also helpful if at night you don't want to hear the sound of the fan. That might be a lot more quieter for you. And then 35% is if you're really concerned about not having dew or any moisture whatsoever build up overnight, especially on your windows or fog up the glass. 35% is where it's at. But if in doubt, just set it to 50. When you need to set up your dehumidifier, you just plug it right in to a wall outlet inside your trailer or your camper. You have a handle on it, which makes it a lot easier to move around your camper unless the water's full. Some places I recommend putting this is where there's good ventilation. Yes, that fan is helpful for moving the air through, but you want to make sure that especially this air inlet spot at the back has space to get all that air to pull in the moisture, that the air can come out the other side. On the side, you have your air filter, which helps out with dust and allergens, things like that. And then you have your water level indicator at the bottom. If you needed to dump the water in that reservoir, you have this easy to take out tank that also has its own handle to make it easier to carry around. With this tank having a capacity of 2 liters, if you were in a situation where your dehumidifier would be pulling up to 7 liters a day, which is a lot of humidity, then this is easy to dump out multiple times throughout the day. When it comes to dehumidifiers, it's so easy to get into the weeds of all the different numbers and specs like temperature, relative humidity, cubic feet of the space you're trying to take moisture out of. Some easy things I can say for you is that you can always check out the product page where we have those numbers out there to guide you along your way. I recommend getting this along with the Eva-Dry sensor, and that you can connect to your phone with the app and will show you where your humidity is at, things like that, wherever the sensor is, to help you get going. Another thing is that if you're in a very humid spot, since this pulls in so much water a day, and if you don't want to have to always be dumping out that tank, you can use the drain hose and just feed this to your sink, your bathroom, your shower, in order to just remove that hassle. So with that in mind, whenever I look at dehumidifiers, I always try to get the largest one I can, simply because it's just better to have the capability of taking out all that humidity rather than having an overworked dehumidifier. But I understand that this might be too large for some smaller campers, teardrop trailers, things like that. If that's the case for you, this might be overkill actually. Eva-Dry has plenty of other options, whether it's their renewable dehumidifiers that don't need to be plugged in, or their mini electric dehumidifiers that work very similarly to this, but are going to be on a much smaller scale. You can check those out here at our website, or give us a call or send us a question, and then we can guide you along your specific situation and your need. But for your motorhomes, RVs, large trailers, boats, and cabins, the largest dehumidifier is always where I start. And I would start with this one. If a friend was to ask me for some help with managing the high humidity levels of wherever they are, or they find mold underneath their mattress or on their bed frame, this is going to be a great way for moisture control, easy to use, very intuitive, and you have all these different customization options if you need it. So what you saw right here was a look at the Eva-Dry Rotary Desiccant Dehumidifier, which all just means a way to manage the humidity in your home for your adventures. My name is Evangeline, and I hope you enjoyed this journey.